Hello students, you are going to write your unit test 2, right? Hope you are all preparing well for the unit test 2. Now we will revise for our unit test 2. Overall, you will be writing your unit test 2 for 25 marks. This is your question paper pattern. Roman letter 1, choose the correct answer. You will get 5 questions. In that, each question carries 1 mark. So totally 5 marks for choose the correct answer. First, you have to read the question carefully. Then, you have to write the question number 1 and then write the correct option. If B is correct, then write option B and write the correct answer. Likewise, you have to answer all the 5 questions. Roman letter 2, fill in the blanks. Here also you will get 5 questions. In that, each question carries 1 mark. So totally 5 marks for fill in the blanks. Roman letter 3, answer the following questions briefly. Here you will get 5 questions. In that, each question carries 2 marks. So totally 10 marks for short answer questions. Roman letter 4, answer the following questions in detail. Here you will get 2 questions. In that, each question carries 2.5 marks. So totally 5 marks for detailed answers. Now we are going to revise the second chapter in history, which is New Kings and Kingdoms. Now let's see the gist of the lesson. The Rashtrakutas, the Gurjara Pratikaras, the Palas, the tripartite struggle, Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas. Next we have the Rajputs, the Chauhans, the battles of Tarain, Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni, administration of the kingdoms, revenue and revenue collection. Then we have the Cholas, a case study. Under this we have administration, art and architecture, bronze sculptures. Finally we have agriculture and irrigation. First we are going to learn about the tripartite struggle, Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas, the 3 dynasties of the early medieval period. The Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj was considered a hub of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. So, the Gurjara Pratikaras, Rashtrakutas and Palas were the 3 dynasties of the early medieval period. They fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj was considered a hub of power. Here, hub means center or focus. So, Kannauj was considered a focus of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. Here, fertile means soil or land producing or capable of producing abundant, which means large or great vegetation or crops. So, Kannauj was considered a hub of power on the fertile plains of the northern India. It was an important center and trade and agriculture flourished in this area. Thus, it was a matter of prestige to be ruling Kannauj. The 3 dynasties kept fighting with each other to gain this prestigious area. As there were 3 dynasties fighting amongst each other, it got the name of tripartite struggle. Here, flourish means grow or develop in a healthy way. Prestige means respect or status. Prestigious means respected or important. Dynasties means a sequence of rulers from the same family. So, it was an important center and trade, and agriculture flourished. So, flourished means developed in a healthy way in this area. Thus, it was a matter of prestige. So, here prestige means respect or status. So, it was a matter of prestige to be ruling Kannauj. So, the three dynasties kept fighting with each other to gain this prestigious area, which means respected or important area, as there were three dynasties fighting amongst each other. So, it got the name of tripartite struggle. Since their armies were near equal in capabilities, there were no definite victors. Here, victors means winners. So, since their armies were equal in capabilities, there were no definite winners. However, the constant battles kept weakening them over a period of time. They did not realize this, and eventually rulers from other dynasties captured the territories. Here, territories means areas of all three, and these dynasties perished, which means fallen simultaneously, which means at the same time. Finally, the real power passed into the hands of the Chandalas, the Chauhans, the Paramars, and other dynasties, all of whom are considered to be Rajputs. The Rajputs were considered as the sons of rulers. They were known to be of two descents, the sun and the moon gods, the Surya Vanshi and the Chandra Vanshi respectively. Here, descents means the origin or background of a person in terms of family or nationalities. In other words, ancestors. So, Rajputs were known to be of two descents, the sun and the moon gods, that is the Surya Vanshi and the Chandra Vanshi respectively. In the northern part of India, Rajputs played a very important role between the 9th and 12th century CE. They established many independent states. There was no central controlling authority which could bring them together into a single unit or empire, which means kingdom. Some of the prominent, here prominent means important Rajput kingdoms were the Chauhans of Ajmer and Delhi, Paramars of Malwa region, Chihadawalas or Raturs of Kannauj, and Shishodiyas of Mewar. Next, we are going to learn about the Chauhans. The Chauhans is earlier known as the Chahamanas, were the feudal lords. Here, feudal lords means a lord in a feudal system. During the rule of the Pratiharas, they established their kingdom first in Ajmer in the 11th century and later acquired control over Delhi from the Tumars and shifted their capital to Delhi. Next, we are going to learn about the battles of Tarain. The first battle at Tarain took place in 1191. Prithviraj united some Rajput kings to face Muhammad Ghori. Here we can see the picture of Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Unfortunately, Jaichand, the ruler of Kannauj, did not join this confederation. In the battle, Gori was wounded and defeated, which caused his army to flee. Here, confederation means league, association, or union. Flee means run away. So, unfortunately, Jaichand, he was the ruler of Kannauj. He did not join this association. So, in the battle, Gori was wounded and defeated, which caused his army to flee, which means to run away. Now, let's see Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni in detail. Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni of Afghanistan ruled from 997 CE to 1030 CE. Muhammad of Ghazni attacked the subcontinent 17 times in search of wealth. He mainly attacked the temple towns such as Somnath, Nagarkot, Mathura, Kannauj and others. He was of the belief, here he refers to Muhammad of Ghazni, was of the belief that all the wealth and gold of India was hidden in the temples, and he wanted the wealth to support his own kingdom and his army. Here, army means armed forces or soldiers. His repeated successful attacks show how Indian kings were very weak and indefensible. Sultan Muhammad was a patron of art and culture as well, and even in those days he established a library in his domain. Here, indefensible means not able to protect it against the attack. Patron means supporter. Culture means the ideas, customs and social behavior of a particular people or society. So, his repeated successful attacks show how Indians were very weak and indefensible, which means not able to protect it against the attack. Sultan Muhammad was a patron. Here patron means supporter of art and culture. So what is meant by culture? The ideas, customs and social behavior of a particular people or society as well. And even in those days he established a library in his domain. Next, we are going to learn about administration of the kingdoms. The kings were thought to be gifted with divine qualities. They assumed titles like Maharajadiraja, Parameshwara, etc. So these terms meant Lord or God. Kingship was hereditary. So here hereditary monarchy means it is a form of government and succession of power in which the throne passes from one member of a ruling family to another member of the same family. In other words, a series of rulers from the same family would constitute, which means form a dynasty. They enjoyed unlimited powers and were the commander of the forces. They took upon the role of judges in cases of disputes. Here, disputes means arguments or quarrels. They appointed council of ministers to help them in administration, and departments were allocated to them. Then officials were appointed to look after the law
and order and collect revenue. Village were the smallest unit of administration, and the headman looked after the administration of the village. In cities, there were local committees to look after the affairs of the cities. Here, affairs means events or incidents. Next, we are going to learn about revenue. The kings needed money to finance their administrative employees and maintain the army and to work for the welfare of the society. Money was also needed to fight wars and finance the construction of forts, palaces and temples. Money collected was at times given away as rewards to selected people. Next, we are going to learn about revenue collection. The various ways of collecting money were as follows. So, there are various ways to collect money were as follows. The first one is farmers were required to give a part of their earnings in crop or its value to the king. Second one, other people like the traders, the artisans were also required to give a tax in kind or cash to the king. At times, the kings collected peculiar and vague taxes like tax for using of a ladder by the peasant, the use of cart, thatching of houses and so on. Those who were unable to pay tax money had to pay back by working as labor for the king. Here, peculiar means unusual, vague means unclear, peasant means farmer, thatching means cover a roof or a building with straw or a similar material. So, at times, the kings collected peculiar, which means unusual, and vague, which means unclear taxes like tax for using of a ladder by the peasant, which means farmer, the use of cart, thatching of houses. So what is mean by thatching? Which means cover a roof or a building with straw or a similar material, and so on. Then those who are unable to pay tax money had to pay back by working as labor for the king. First, we are going to see definition of a case study. A case is a factual description of events that actually happened at some point in the past. It is designed to elicit discussion and analysis of a particular situation. Here, factual means truthful or realistic. Description means explanation. Elicit means provoke or cause. Analysis means study or investigation. So, a case is a factual description. Here, factual description means truthful or realistic explanation of events that actually happened at some point in the past. It is designed to elicit. Here, elicit means provoke or cause discussion and analysis of a particular situation. Here, analysis means study or investigate a particular situation. Next, we are going to see the Cholas, a case study. The Chola dynasty was one of the ancient dynasties which ruled in South India. It maintained its prestige under the Sangam age. but gradually it reduced to become a feudatory of the Pallavas. Now let's see some keywords. Dynasties, ancient, prestige, feudatory. Dynasties means a sequence of rulers from the same family. Ancient means olden or yearly. Prestige means respect or status. Feudatory means a person who holds land under the conditions of the feudal system. Chola dynasty was one of the ancient dynasties. Here, ancient dynasties means olden dynasties which ruled in South India. It maintained its prestige. Here, prestige means respect or status under the Sangam age, but gradually. Here, gradually means slowly. It reduced to become a feudatory of the Pallavas. So, what is meant by feudatory? Feudatory means a person who holds land under the conditions of the feudal system. It again revived its glory in the middle of the 9th century and maintained its supremacy for about 4 centuries under the able rulers of this dynasty. Now let's see some keywords. Revived means bring back. Glory means honor or prestige. Prestige means status or respect. Supremacy means the state or condition of being superior to all others in authority, power or status. So, it again revived means bring back its glory. Glory means honor in the middle of the 9th century and maintained its supremacy, which means its power, for about 4 centuries under the able rulers of this dynasty. Vijayalaya was the founder of the revived Chola dynasty. Here we can see the picture of Vijayalaya, revival of Chola dynasty. He belonged to the chieftain family of the Cholas from Urayur. He broke away from the Pallavas and conquered Tanjavur and established his capital there. Here, chieftain means a leader of a group. Conquered means captured. So, he belonged to the chieftain family. Here, he refers to Vijayalaya. Vijayalaya belonged to the chieftain family. So, what is meant by chieftain? Chieftain means a leader of a group of the Cholas from Urayur. He broke away from the Pallavas and conquered. So, what is meant by conquered? Conquered means captured Tanjavur and established his capital there. He also built a temple for goddess Nishumba Sudini there. Here we can see the picture of the temple. His son Aditya was his successor who brought a lot of glory. Here glory means honor to this kingdom, but the power was crushed by Rashtrakutas and this dynasty remained subdued for about 30 years. So what is meant by subdued? Subdue means bring a country or people under control by force. Rajaraja I of the Chola dynasty once again established the Cholas' supremacy in the region. This period of rule was from 985 CE to 1014 CE. The kingdom under his kingship became a rich empire. Here, supremacy means the state or condition of being superior to all others in authority, power or status. Region means area. Kingship means the state or position of being a king. In other words, kingship means power. So, Rajaraja I of the Chola dynasty once again established the Cholas' supremacy. Supremacy means power in the region. This period of rule was from 985 CE to 1014 CE. The kingdom under his kingship, which means under his power, became a rich empire. He also developed a strong navy by conquering the naval forces of the Chera kingdom in Kerala, the area of Madurai and Ceylon, present-day Sri Lanka. His domain thus spread up to areas of present-day Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. Even parts of Ceylon were under his control. So here, navy means the branch of the armed services of a state which conducts military operations at sea. In other words, the part of a country's military forces that fights at sea. Rajendra I, the son of Rajaraja I, continued the expansionist policy of his father. So what is meant by expansionist? A person or organization that supports increasing the amount of land ruled by a country. So here Rajendra I, the son of Rajaraja I, continued the expansionist policy of his father. He conquered. Here conquered means he captured the whole of Sri Lanka in the south. He also ventured. Here ventured means moved northwards and conquered parts of the Gangetic plains. So he thus got the title of Gangaikonda Chola. He ruled for the period 1014 CE to 1044 CE. He also developed a good irrigation system in the region. So what is meant by irrigation system? Irrigation is the artificial application of water to the soil through various systems of tubes, pumps and sprays. Irrigation is usually used in areas where rainfall is irregular or dry times or drought is expected. There are many types of irrigation systems in which water is supplied to the entire field uniformly. Gradually, this empire started declining, which means falling or weakening in the 13th century. Next, we are going to learn about administration. The Chola rulers devised a well-structured administrative system for effective governance. Here, devised means created or developed. So, the Chola rulers created a well-structured administrative system for effective governance. So, the structure of such governance given below shows that these were quite similar to modern democracy and local self-governance as practiced today. So, what is meant by democracy? Democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. Self-governance means it is the ability of a group or individual to exercise all necessary functions of regulation without intervention from an external authority. The king was the head of the administration. He was assisted by a council of ministers. The kingdom was divided into two categories. One category was governed by vassal chiefs, while the others were directly under the control of the king. Here, vassal means a vassal was a man who gave military service to a lord, in return for which he was protected by the lord and received land to live on. The directly governed regions were subdivided into districts called nadus. Further, the nadus were divided into units called kurams. The lower level administration was conducted by a process of local self-governance. So what is meant by self-governance? Self-governance is also known as self-government or self-rule. It is the ability of a group or individual to exercise all necessary functions of regulation without intervention from an external authority. There were 4 types of assemblies: the Natlas, the Nagarata, the Mahasabha and the Ur. The first one is the Natlas. This assembly looked after the civic problems. So what is meant by civic? Civic means relating to the duties or activities of people in relation to their town, city or local area. So this assembly looked after the civic problems. The Nagarata, this looked after trade and civil matters. So what is meant by trade? Trade means the action of buying and selling goods and services. Civil means public. So the Nagarata, this looked after trade, which means the action of buying and selling goods and services, and civil matters. Here civil means public, so public matters. The third type of assembly is that the Mahasabha. It was a representative assembly of villages. This assembly met in a temple or public hall. It had 8 committees to look after matters relating to land, roads, judicial, accounts, irrigation, cultivation, etc. It also used to oversee revenue collection and expenditures of the administration. Here, expenditures means expenses or cost of the administration. The fourth type of assembly is that the Ur. This was a gathering of villagers which used to discuss matters of common interest and resolve trivial issues amongst the people. Here, trivial means minor or small. So, the Ur, it was a gathering of villagers which used to discuss matters of common interest and resolve small or minor issues amongst the people. Next, we are going to learn about art and architecture. First, we have to know what is meant by art. Art means the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture. Architecture means the art or practice of designing and constructing buildings. So, the Chola temples are famous for Tamil architecture. Agriculture and irrigation. Agriculture played a vital role in the growth of the Chola Empire. The Kaveri River and the delta formed by it close to the Bay of Bengal had very fertile land around it. Here we can see the picture of fertile land. Due to the availability of water, people were even able to grow 2 crops in a year at certain places. The rulers took interest in developing and improving the irrigation facilities, which helped boost production. Here we can see the pictures of irrigation system. Wells were also dug to have subsoil water. Reservoirs and embankments were constructed at various places to prevent flooding or to channelize water through canals. Here we can see the pictures of reservoir and embankment.
Now we are going to revise the book back questions with answers. Section A. Choose the correct option. Question number 1. Mihir Bhoja was the outstanding ruler of option 1 Palas, option 2 Rajputs, option 3 Gurjara Pratikaras, option 4 Cholas. So the correct answer is option 3 Gurjara Pratikaras. Question number 2. A ritual called Hiranyagarbha was performed by a Rashtrakuta chief. Option 1 Mayurashtraman, option 2 Harichandra, option 3 Dandi Durga, option 4 Harsha. So the correct answer is option 3 Dandi Durga. Question number 3. The outstanding ruler of the Pratikaras was option 1 Mahendra Bala, option 2 Mihir Bhoja, option 3 Nagabhatta, option 4 Rajabala. So the correct answer is option 2 Mihir Bhoja. Question number 4. The capital of the Rashtrakutas was option 1 Madurai, option 2 Patna, option 3 Kannauj, option 4 Malkhed. So the correct answer is option 4 Malkhed. Question number 5. Pala dynasty was founded by option 1 King Rajaraja, option 2 King Rajendra, option 3 King Gopala, option 4 Mihir Bhoja. So the correct answer is option 3 King Gopala. Question number 6. The Palas established their kingdom in option 1 Gujarat, option 2 Rajasthan, option 3 Tamil Nadu, option 4 Bengal. So the correct answer is option 4 Bengal. Question number 7. Vikramshila University was established by King option 1 Devabala, option 2 Dharambala, option 3 Dandi Durga, option 4 Mihir Bhoja. So the correct answer is option 2 Dharambala. Question number 8. The tripartite struggle took place to acquire control over option 1 Kannauj, option 2 Patna, option 3 Tanjore, option 4 Patliputra. So the correct answer is option 1 Kannauj. Question number 9. Battle of Tarain took place between option 1 Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori, option 2 Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad of Ghazni, option 3 Jaichand and Muhammad Ghori, option 4 Jaichand and Muhammad of Ghazni. So the correct answer is option 1 Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Question number 10. Muhammad of Ghazni raided India. Option 1 10 times, 2 12 times, option 3 15 times, option 4 17 times. So the correct answer is option 4, 17 times. Question number 11. The capital of the Cholas was option 1 Madurai, option 2 Tanjavur, option 3 Kanjipuram, option 4 Kannauj. So the correct answer is option 2 Tanjavur. Question number 12. Who got the title of Gangaikonda Chola? Option 1 Rajaraja the First, option 2 Rajendra the First, option 3 Vijayalaya, option 4 none of these. So the correct answer is option 2 Rajendra the First. Question number 13. The directly governed regions of the Chola kingdom was divided into districts known as option 1 Nadus, option 2 Natlas, option 3 Mahasabhas, option 4 Nagarata. So the correct answer is option 1 Nadus. Section B, fill in the blanks. Question number 1. Pradikaras were attacked and defeated in 1019 CE by the forces of Dash. So the correct answer is Muhammad Ghazni. Question number 2. The last ruler Karka II of the Dash dynasty was defeated by the Chalukya king in 973 CE. So the correct answer is Rashtrakuta dynasty. Question number 3. The Palas received a blow at the hands of Dash. So the answer is Vijayasena. Question number 4. Rajputs were known to be of two descents, the Dash and the Dash. So the answer is the sun and the moon. Question number 5. The second battle of Terrain was fought in Dash. So the correct answer is 1192. Section E. Answer the following questions very briefly. Question number 1. Who were Samantas? Question number 2. Name two Brahmins who became kings. Question number 3. Name some prominent rulers of the Rashtrakuta dynasty. Question number 4. Who founded the Pala dynasty? Name the areas which were part of this dynasty. Question number 5. What was the contribution of the king Dharambala to the field of learning? Question number 6. Name some prominent Rajput kingdoms. Question number 7. Why did Muhammad of Ghazni attack temple towns in India? Question number 8. Why did kings need money? Question number 9. What were the activities associated with the Chola temples? Section F. Answer the following questions in detail. Question number 1. Write down the duties of the Samantas. How did they gain independence from the kings? Question number 2. Write down the main achievements of the Rashtrakutas. Question number 3. Name the dynasties that fought with each other to acquire control over Kannauj. Give reasons for the conflict and what was the result. Question number 4. Explain in detail the rise and fall of the power of Prithviraj Chauhan. Question number 5. What do you know about the Chola administration? Question number 6. Chola rulers took interest in agriculture. What steps were taken by them to improve irrigation? So I hope you are all having PDF notes. In that you can read short answers and detailed answers as well. Next, we are going to revise the second chapter in geography, which is Inside Our Earth. Now, let's see the gist of the lesson. Layers of the earth. Under this, we have crust, mantle and core. Next we have rocks. Classification of rocks. Under this we have igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks. The earth is divided into 4 main layers like crust, mantle, outer core and inner core. Here we can see the picture of layers of the earth. Classification of rocks. Rocks are classified into 3 types like igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks. Igneous rocks are classified into intrusive igneous rocks and extrusive igneous rocks. Sedimentary rocks are classified into organic and inorganic rocks. Inorganic itself we have chemical and mechanical. Then metamorphic rocks are classified into 2, thermal and dynamic. So let's see one by one in detail in the next class. Now we are going to revise the book back questions with answers. Section A. Choose the correct option. Question number 1. The uppermost part of the earth's surface is called the option 1 crust, option 2 mantle, option 3 outer core, option 4 inner core. So the correct answer is option 1 crust. Question number 2. Nickel and iron are found in option 1 crust, option 2 mantle, option 3 inner core, option 4 outer core. So the correct answer is option 4 outer core. Question number 3. The main constituents of the continental mass are option 1 silica and magnesium, option 2 silica and aluminium, option 3 nickel and ferrous, option 4 silica and nickel. So the correct answer is option 2 silica and aluminium. Question number 4. Thickness of the continental areas in the crust is option 1 12 km, option 2 15 km, option 3 25 km, option 4 35 km. So the correct answer is option 4 35 km. Question number 5. The thickness of the mantle is option 1 2500 km, option 2 2700 km, option 3 2900 km, option 4 3000 km. So the correct answer is option 3 2900 km. Question number 6. Which one of the following rocks are also called volcanic rocks? Option 1 metamorphic, option 2 sedimentary, option 3 igneous, option 4 both 1 and 2. So the correct answer is option 3 igneous. Question number 7. The rocks which are formed by cooling of magma are option 1 igneous, option 2 sedimentary, option 3 metamorphic, option 4 permeable. So the correct answer is option 1 igneous. Question number 8. Which type of rocks contain fossils and plant remains? Option 1 extrusive igneous, option 2 intrusive igneous, option 3 sedimentary, option 4 metamorphic. So the correct answer is option 3 sedimentary. Section B. Fill in the blanks. Question number 1. The earth has a diameter of dash kilometer at the equator. So the answer is 12,742 kilometer. Question number 2. Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the Earth's crust is called dash. So the answer is rock. Question number 3. Dash rocks are called primary rocks. So the correct answer is igneous. Question number 4. Intrusive rocks are formed when magma cools dash the Earth's crust. So the answer is within. Question number 5. Limestone changes to dash. So the answer is marble. Question number 6. Extrusive rocks have a dash structure. So the answer is fine grained. Section C. Distinguish between the following. Question number 1. Igneous and sedimentary rocks. Question number 2. Core and crust. Question number 3. Extrusive and intrusive rocks. Section E. Answer the following questions briefly. Question number 1. Why is it very difficult to go inside the earth? Question number 2. How are rocks generally classified? Question number 3. How are sedimentary rocks formed? Section F. Answer the following questions in detail. Question number 1. Explain the structure of the earth. So I hope you are all having PDF notes. In that you can read short answers and detailed answers as well. Students, prepare well for your exams. So now we have reached the end of this session. Thank you.